What if I told you the problem with the riots in France and in Europe is not about immigrants? No. It's the way they treat immigrants. Learn from Canada. Canada is not a perfect place, but it has great ideas on how to help immigrants integrate and feel at home in the community, be part of the community, and contribute to the community. And how do I know that? Try it. I am Jamhuri. I'm here to share my international experiences, build bridges between cultures with the hope of making the world a better place. I consider myself a social observer, a commentator and interpreter of social events, and a storyteller. A disclaimer: I do not condone violence. Today I'm going to talk about the violence, the riots in France and in Europe that started out by the shooting of a young person, 17-year-old youth in France, and that sparked riots all over France, the burning of buildings, vandalizations, burning of vehicles in the streets. I have lived in Europe for 11 years, and I have moved out of Europe. I live in Canada now, and the way immigrants are treated in those two continents is very, very different. And so I think this gives me the right to comment on this topic. My 11 years of living in Germany, I would say they were quite enjoyable, but they came at a cost though. I found that I was the one that was making connections in the community. When my kids were little, I made sure that I made room for them to explore the community. And as your kids grow up, they are the ones that lead you into the neighborhood through their friendships. And as a mother, I felt that I had to work hard myself as an immigrant to get to know my neighbors, to be part of the community and all the activities that were offered there. And it's the children that helped me make those connections. And once I made those connections, doors opened for me in the community. People reached out to me in the community. But it was exhausting being the first to reach out. But after all those many years too, I learned to understand the community. And I think this is common in Europe. But when there were problems in the community, the first people to be blamed were the immigrants. I heard whisperings, and some things were even spoken in my presence. And I started to feel uncomfortable because literally I had nothing to do with what the government was doing, the failures of the government, the problem with the euro. But there was that feeling of, anything that goes wrong, you blame the immigrants. That's the first problem. Second problem, and I think this is the hugest problem, I felt that as an immigrant, I observed that the hands of the immigrants were tied up. All the good jobs, no immigrant could reach that far. All the jobs that are the lowest of all the immigrants got that job. And I asked myself, if I wanted to go for a job, a stay-home mom, what kind of job would I look for? Because I aspired to do a good job, one of the best jobs possible. But there was a cap. And I observed this in the society. Even in the news broadcasters, there was no diversity. Even at the airports, you would see even the people driving the airport vehicles, there was no diversity. But you could see the diversity in the lowest jobs, cleaning jobs, and all those other jobs. And I started to ask myself, what would be the future of my children? It seemed like it didn't matter how much they would excel. They had already been classified where they would work. And that was very clear to me. Third, the festivals in the community lacked diversity. in the population. One year, our city had a great summer festival, and they called it Sleepless in Neuwied, Schlaflos in Neuwied. And I like parties, I like festivals, and so I prepared, and I like visiting with diverse cultures. And I thought that would be my great opportunity to have a great time. I was very shocked to see that all the booths in the town were occupied by non-immigrants. I was very disappointed. Sleepless in the city, and not one immigrant booth was available. That is not a good picture. 4. All those years of living in Germany, I did not see any resources, any integration opportunities to help immigrants be part of the community in a vibrant way, to contribute. And when let's say the church setting, when I tried to be part of it and bring myself out, I felt some resistance. It's like you're here to learn our culture, to speak in our language, to sing in our language, to do everything our way. And after a while, I really felt choked, no room to contribute as myself. And you get really exhausted, always trying to be someone else, to operate from another culture, and you as a person, you as your culture is not appreciated. And that caused some resentment in me. It really did. And I felt like, you know what, I don't want to live here anymore. If people do not value me, and I'm a human being with my own authentic self, I'm tired. I got really exhausted, always trying to find a way for me, for my family, for my friends, and to encourage other friends to just be part of the community. But there was a big resistance. And I can now say, if that was just my feeling, what about you multiply that by thousands and millions of immigrants who feel like that every day? And when you go to the pool, I went once to the pool, and I wanted to be part of everything, because I felt if I'm living in this community, I better enjoy my life. And being in the swimming pool, I saw some other immigrants, and some people were making fun of them. And I had to tell those people to quit, because I felt that if they treated them like that, that's how they would treat me. What is that driving force for immigrants to contribute to their new country? One, it's because they had the opportunity to come from a very difficult situation as immigrants, as refugees, and to have a new home, a place where they can start all over again, a place that is safe. And when you get that chance, it is not easy to get that chance. And when you get that chance, you are very, very, very grateful. Secondly, immigrants are a great resource in themselves. They bring their talents, they bring experiences, they bring a force that can shape a community, and it can be used for good, for the good and development and enhancement of a community. So if you bottle that up, you tie people's hands and you chalk off their contributions, their creativity, their talents, their experiences, and you give them a message that you don't need them. And to not to be needed is a very bad place to be. And so what do? What happens after that? When people feel rejected and unwanted, it will come out in a different way. And I think that's what we see in Europe and in France and in other countries that reject diversity. They think that immigrants are takers. Immigrants are givers. I worked with immigrants for many years, for about 15 years. I was so amazed at their spirit. They are resilient, they are givers, they are ready to give what they could not give in their country. And so I think that before immigrants are blamed for every little thing, you should ask yourself, what is the government doing? What systems are in place? What is the goal? Because you cannot just invite immigrants to come and work for a country and reject every part of them. That doesn't work like that. So I encourage these countries to rethink their immigration policies and to borrow from Canada how Canada integrates communities. And integration, by the way, is different from assimilation. Assimilation is like, forget about who you are, be part of this community, live like us, and forget about yourself. That doesn't work either. Integration, the Canadian way, is, hey, come as you are. You know, you're different than me physically or culturally, but hey, I welcome you, contribute. It is like it's like a quilt. It's like a mosaic, and that's what Canada is, a mosaic of various cultures, various people. It is a beautiful place. And I would say, may the world try this model. And I wish Europe, wow, a quick recovery from these riots. So now I live as an immigrant in Canada. I moved to Canada and I have really flourished and thrived. And Canada, I would say, and I would advocate for that my life in Europe and my life in Canada now, where I have arrived at, is so much further than if I had stayed in Germany. And I am part of a community that created a festival, a winter festival. And I had the privilege of being asked to be part of it, to create an atmosphere that is welcoming to immigrants, because it was a new thing in the community and people were a bit uncomfortable because all of a sudden there were immigrants bombarding their community. And I would say that is normal. That is normal to feel uncomfortable. But then how do you get past that? So we came together as a group of women to create an idea, and we ended up having a winter festival. And we celebrated this year of 2023, the 15th year of that festival. Very successful, where immigrants were part of the whole setup, sharing their cultures in terms of dances and food and clothing, whatever possible. But not only immigrants, but the people from the community who lived there for generations. And that has been a very, very successful festival, and the community has thrived. And Canada, by the way, makes room for immigrants. And I would say in Canada, if you should fail in your life, that is your own fault, because it is a welcoming community. So I want to ask all the voices that are here to really contribute to healing the world, to step up. Please share your ideas. You know, let your voice be heard. Until next time. Bye.